Starting recording. Hold on. All right, we are now recording. False start. Max
That was
Chadwick.
huge. Oh, that was huge. We almost did it again.
Shambles.
Welcome to another episode of Boom or Bust, the draft show. Max Chadwick alongside Tate, Sigworth, and Nick Merriam. So, not a scouting report video, our first mock draft of the 2022 NFL draft. We're very excited about this. A lot of this is going to look horribly wrong by the time April comes around, but we're going to do it anyway. So, we're doing a full mock draft. Basically, how we're going to do this is there's only 3 of us now, so 2 of us get 9 teams, 1 of us gets 10 teams. And you do the math right there, and you're like, wait a minute, that's only 28 teams. There are 4 teams right now in 2022 NFL draft that don't have a first-round pick. Now, we're including the Colts in this draft because Carson Wentz, we are assuming Carson Wentz is not going to play 75% of the snaps, which is what the condition is for that second-round pick to be turned into a first-round pick. So Colts are included in this mock draft, and the draft order is based off the DraftKings Sportsbook. So for anyone getting in the comments being like, how the heck is my team this low? That's not us. That's not us at all. It's because of the DraftKings Sportsbook. We're going off that. We're not saying
Texans underrated.
Yeah, Texans underrated. Texans Super Bowl contender. PJ's Lions Super Bowl champion this year. So they're number 2, but we'll see. Please follow our Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Boom or Bust Draft. Hit the merch store. And please continue supporting us because support for us. I don't have the Manscaped razor on me right now. I don't know if either of you do, but I'm going to make the buzzing noise. I guess we don't have it. It's fine. It's brought to you. Yeah, neither room. We'll just put it in afterwards. It's brought to you by Manscaped. Attention, listeners across the galaxy, all the way from Australia to Houston. Do we have a pube problem? If so, our friends at Manscaped have cleared you for takeoff with their 4th generation and brand new Lawnmower 4.0. Kick your pubes to the next planet with the Performance Package 4.0. The orbits in your pants will feel like you're in zero gravity when you use the best tools for the job from the leaders in male grooming. Join the 2,003 men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get your rocket ready for takeoff by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code BOOMERBUST. That is BOOMERBUST for 20% off and free shipping with the code BOOMERBUST at manscaped.com for a clean trinity and beyond. Your space balls will thank you. So we're going to start off. I have the first pick, which is the Texans. And I'm going to go with the guy who I think Nick and I have as QB1 in this class. Assuming the Sean Watson situation, he gets traded to our team or whatever happens with him. I'm taking Spencer Rattler, the quarterback from Oklahoma. I think he's the next Oklahoma quarterback to be a first overall pick after Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. He's just a special player outside of structure, outside the pocket. I love Spencer Rattler. Zach Wilson comp for me. I think he's going to be a really good quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he's as good as Lawrence or Fields as of right now, but I think he's on the same tier of Zach Wilson. And, last year's quarterback class was so special, so I'm taking Spencer Rattler here at number 1 for the Texans.
So we have the Lions picking second. We don't know for certain if they're going to take a QB, but if it's up to us, I think all of us would take a quarterback here. And Sam Howell from North Carolina is our, for all of us, either the 1 or 2 QB on this board. And I think it's a good fit with this team just because the O-line and the run game, I believe DeAndre Swift and Jamal Williams is going to be a good 1-2 punch at running back. And the run game should be good. With that, I think his ability to create as a play-action passer, kind of within that structure, it could be very successful at the NFL level. And actually works out quite well for the Lions in this case.
All right, 3rd overall pick, we got the Bengals. I think the first 2 picks, Rattler and Howell, were kind of automatic, at least for this group. They were going to be 1 or 2 in whatever order, so this is kind of where the draft would start to open up. I think they need corner over in Cincy. So, Derek Stingley, we made a video on him. Go check him out in whatever corner that is. I don't know the directions. Unreal talent. Probably the best non-quarterback in this class. You can maybe talk about Kyle Hamilton, but yeah, Derek Stingley is awesome. He would immediately start for that team and help them out in a tremendous way. So yeah, Derek Stingley, 3rd overall.
Yeah, just real quick. So this is what we would do, not what we think is going to happen, because obviously we don't know what the heck's going to happen with a draft order. This is what we think we would do as the GM with this draft order. So I go fourth. Tate stole my pick. I was very much hoping he was going to take someone else for the Bengals, because I would have loved seeing the Jets, who have the fourth pick. But instead, I'm going to go with the guy who's number 4 on my board. So this draft has gone how my board is, which is 1, 2, 3. This guy's number 4 on my board. Safety out of Notre Dame, Kyle Hamilton. We also did a video on him. They have Marcus May there, but he's on a franchise tag. Don't know if he's going to be brought back. But even if he is brought back, don't love Ashton Davis, what he's shown so far. I think, they need a lot of help in the secondary. I wouldn't take Kyer Elam here at 4. And I think the Jets could really use someone like Kyle Hamilton to be that versatile chess piece in that defense.
Just made PJ very happy. So first kind of like crossroads in this draft, I think at least, is Jacksonville, who's picking 5th. And we don't really know for certain what defense Urban Meyer's running over there, but from what it seems, it's like some sort of attacking multiple front type thing, where they're going to play these outside linebacker type edge players. And they have Clavon Chason and Josh Allen there. And I'm kind of betting on them developing a little bit. So with the discussions between Kayvon and DeMarvin Leal to play edge here for Jacksonville, I don't think they need another outside guy, and I don't think Kayvon's that much better than Leal that I would force taking him here as another rotational edge player when you can play Leal kind of as the down 3-4 defensive end. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take DeMarvin Leal just because it's a better fit, and I think he's more equal of a player to Kayvon than people think, and I just think the fit here is better for Jacksonville. So they get him. They put him kind of more of an interior role and keep Allen and Chase on as the exterior rushers there.
All right, we got the Las Vegas Raiders now on the clock at 6. I'm keeping the scouting report chain going. All 5 players previously we've done a scouting report on. I'm going to keep the chain going, keep it alive. We're going to Evan Neal, offensive lineman, Alabama. I think they need offensive line help. There's a couple of guys whose contracts are expiring. Evan Neal, we talked about him, is an amazing talent. And whether he year 1 would play guard and then move out to tackle in like a later year, that's remained to be seen. Viking Skull is going to be in the comments all mad about taking an interior guy in top 6. But I don't care. Evan Neal's awesome and can help out that team for years to come.
How about this? Last year we hated the Raiders taking the Alabama tackle in the first round, Alex Leatherwood. Now they take another one in Evan Neal. I don't hate that at all.
Yeah, much better pick. So then we got me up here with the Eagles. I would hope they would try and move what's his name, Leatherwood, into guard and then put Neal at right tackle. Actually, but
gotta say I hate the Eagles here at 7, man. I feel like they should be the number 3 team in this Super Bowl, but we'll see.
I could see them moving. Yeah, I think Jacksonville's probably better than them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're kind of like I don't know. Yeah. Well, we got them 7. They need a quarter. I think Jalen Hurts could be very good, but if he is, they're not picking 7th. So in this simulation here, they're picking 7th. They need a quarterback. Sorry, Eagles fans, and you shouldn't be upset because I'm upset because I have to give them Matt Corral, who I think Tate thinks, Max I think thinks is an excellent quarterback prospect in this draft. Should go in the first round. This is probably higher than you've seen most people mock him, but I think in his ability to kind of create outside the pocket, within the pocket, underrated legs, throw downfield with timing, with accuracy, anticipation, make all the throws. I think he will be QB3 in this draft. There are reports saying that the league does like him. Even some people like him more than Rattler and Howell, which I don't know about, but we'll see. But I think this is a good fit in that he is kind of like Hurts, except for he can actually throw the ball.
So I'm up with Carolina at 8. And I'm sure everyone who's watched this video so far is like, dude, where is Kayvon Thibodeau? Because a lot of people think he should be the first overall pick, which none of us think should happen.
Just how the board fell.
Yeah, it's just the board got weird. I'm going to stop the slide here with Kayvon Thibodeau. They have Brian Burns, who I love. Yetur Gross-Matos, my Penn State guy, wasn't really, great so far. So I'm taking Thibodeau. I mean, he's the number 5 player on my board. We did a video on him, so check him out too. It's just too much value here, I think, at number 8 overall. And Carolina, I think, even with J.C. Horn, can use some help in the secondary, but I'm taking Kayvon Thibodeau just because I love the fit here with Carolina opposite Brian Burns, who I think, Nick, you compared him to, right? Didn't you compare him to? Yeah. So Yeah, I think Kayvon Thibodeau would be a really fun fit. Yeah, in Carolina.
If Thibodeau was on the board here at 9 for the Giants, I probably would have run the card in, even though they took Azeez Ojulari in last year's first round. Yeah, we kind of hit the point here where I got a little stumped about what to do. Ended up going with Charles Cross, offensive tackle, Mississippi State. Again, another offensive line that I thought needed help, at least in the draft, and the Giants did not address their offensive lineman with even one pick, I believe, in this past year's draft class. Probably a bit of a reach for Charles Cross at this point. This whole offensive line class, there's so many guys that you just we really got to see what they do this coming fall. They could either make the jump and be really, really good and go up in this range, or they could just be whatever and go in the back end of the first round. A lot of guys that are like that. Charles Cross is one of them, probably a reach. But yeah, we're going here. Charles Cross.
So 10th here with the Falcons. I love this pick for Atlanta too. I know they just took A.J. Terrell a couple years ago in the first round, but man, Kyer Elam, who's my number 6 overall player on my board right now, I think he would be really, really good opposite A.J. Terrell, who so far has been okay. I'm not saying he's been great or bad. He's just been okay. But other than him, you got Isaiah Oliver, Fabian Morrow, and as the other 2 corners. I mean, that Falcons secondary, I'd like Richie Grant, that pick there as a safety, but their corners and their secondary in whole could use a lot of help. So I love Kyer Elam falling to 10. So it's a great value at 10, and also it fits a huge need for Atlanta. So I love Kyer Elam there.
And then the Giants are back on the board. So while I was, in my mind, trying to debate what to do with the 9th overall pick, I also had to worry about the 11th overall pick that was coming immediately after. And we're keeping the Dave Gettleman loves big boys train alive. We're going Tyler Linderbaum, the best interior offensive lineman in this class out of Iowa. Vikings Cole, if you were mad at me taking an interior offensive lineman in quotes at 6, I'm doing it again at 11. Sorry. Hope you're good. Hope your family's good. Hope you're doing well. But I'm doubling down. We got Charles Cross and Tyler Linderbaum. We're fixing the offensive line, keeping Saquon upright, and trying to whoever's playing quarterback next year for the Giants. Yeah, we're getting some help.
Can I just say Linderbaum at 11 is perfect. I love that. People can say interior offensive line not that high, but man, he is maybe the best since Quentin Nelson that we've seen come out. So I love Linderbaum that high.
I would argue he should have been the pick at 9.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, sure.
Yeah, center more valuable than guard. It just is. So that's my refute to the interior offensive line thing. 12th, we got Washington. We gave each other our own teams this time because it's just we're kind of projecting into the future. So I figured that each of us would know best what's for our teams. So I gave Max the Steelers and Tate the Browns, and me Washington. So we got him. I'm going to give us Malik Willis, quarterback from Liberty, maybe a little early. I think he is a developmental prospect, obviously athletically very gifted, kind of like Trey Lance, but on a lesser scale. And reportedly last year, Washington wanted to trade up for a QB, couldn't because the guy that Ron Rivera really loved was Trey Lance. And based on that, I'm guessing just because he had Cam Newton for years, he loves the toolsy, run between the tackles type quarterback. And you got that, I think, again here with Malik Willis. So if he's there, I'd be not surprised if Ron Rivera valued him as a prospect.
All right, and now speaking of Vikings Skull, we got the Vikings on the clock. I'm going with Nick Benito, Oklahoma edge, kind of on the skinnier end, and by kind of I mean pretty much on the skinnier end. He's under 240 pounds, 235 or something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, it's a bit skinny. Maybe put on some weight, yeah. Nick. You might sacrifice some explosiveness, but yeah, man, last year was unreal. He was a special player last year for Oklahoma. And if he could double down and do that again and add on a little weight and perform on that new weight, yeah, he would be very deserving at 13.
I've heard a lot of people talk about him playing linebacker at the next level, which, I mean, obviously the value would go down, but I mean, he's played in coverage pretty well before. So I don't know. If he can't put on the weight, I don't hate that. So 14 here, Arizona. So Rondale Moore has been murdering it in training camp, which I know Nick loves seeing on the timeline every day. But I still think this team could go after trying to find a number 2 receiver because A.J. Green obviously is getting up there in age. Christian Kirk I don't love either. I think Rondale Moore will take over that slot role. The guy who I have as my number 1 receiver, and again, this is a great value. I think he's number 8 on my board, or number 9 on my board right now, is Garrett Wilson, the wide receiver from Ohio State, who is an excellent route runner. He's got all the, tools before the catch. He's good in contested situations. Got to get a little bit bigger. I think he's only 188 pounds at 6 feet tall. So get a little bit bigger. But, man, I love Garrett Wilson and what he does, especially as a route runner. And he gets open, which is what you need at the next level. I compared him to Jerry Jeudy. I don't think he's as great of a route runner as Jeudy was coming out. But that's kind of the role I see him having in the NFL, is that Jeudy-type role. So here at 14, I think wide receiver 1 would be a great fit for Arizona.
So if he's their wide receiver 2, does that mean DeAndre is their wide receiver 3?
Didn't I say Garrett will be wide receiver 2?
Yeah.
Behind
so
DeAndre.
But right after
DeAndre's
complimenting
3,
Rondale Moore.
Rondale's 1, right?
Oh, yeah. I was so confused there for a second. Yeah, so DeAndre Hopkins now wide receiver 3 for Arizona. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, makes sense.
Glad we confirmed that.
So Denver's up. Juwan James signing just didn't work out. Bobby Massey is their current 1-year plug-in for right tackle. So they're going to need somebody there. If I'm not mistaken, they don't have someone else on that roster right now playing tackle, right? I might be wrong about this, but we're going to give him Jackson Kirkland, who for me is tackle 2 in this draft. But there are concerns. This guy out of Washington, he's 6'7", so good height, but he is undersized. He's below 300 pounds. He is agile, good footwork, stays well in front of people, well balanced in the pass game. He's a great pass protector. But in the run game, he has no power. There's just no power. There's no ability to move defenders, and I think he needs to add weight to be successful in the NFL. But in terms of being a pass-first blocker in the NFL, which is what matters, he can work out, and I think maybe giving him that right tackle spot to start out in the NFL is where he needs to be, just because he'll be playing lesser edge rushers.
All right, keeping the train alive of these tackles that are poised to either jump up or just stay on the back end of the first round. The Colts are on the clock at 16. I'm going Thayer Munford from the Ohio State. Took a big step up last year in the limited season that was the Big Ten Ohio State season. Only allowed a couple pressures, honestly. You watch the tape, he was excellent. He's a little limited mobility-wise, but he performs. If he makes it work, he makes it work. Is he actually going to go 16 down the road in a couple months? Maybe not, but he very well could if he has another excellent season and backs up his good 2020.
Yeah, those two were my picks for the Steelers here. The Steelers' offensive line is awful, and I think there's a big drop off after those two tackles and Evan Neal that we mentioned before, and the next tackle. So I didn't want to go offensive line here. I was so close, man, to pulling the trigger on Grayson McCall here for the Steelers. Just get my guy in there in Pittsburgh. Couldn't do that either, though. I'm going to go with a corner because the Steelers just lost Steven Nelson. They just lost Mike Hilton. You got Joe Hayden, Cam Sutton, and Justin Lane as 3 corners right now. So the Steelers front 7, which is great. Secondary, not so great. So I'm going with the next corner on my board, who's right around this range for me too. Ahmad Sauce Gardner, the corner from Cincinnati. Great length. He has been excellent in 2 years in Cincinnati so far. The issue with him, and that he's going to have to clean up, is that he's a very, very physical corner. And usually that's a great thing, but he kind of goes overboard with it, where he's probably going to get flagged a ton at the NFL. So this is right around the range where I would take him. He's got to become better in off coverage and not be as physical down the field, because he will be flagged a lot more in the NFL with the rules different in the NFL. But I like this pick for the Steelers here if there is no offensive lineman available.
So 18th for the Eagles. We grabbed the quarterback earlier. We're going to continue to get on receiving talent. I know they have Devontae Smith. Travis Fulgham's an interesting guy if he continues to develop. And Jalen Reagor. We'll see. I didn't love Reagor year 1, so I'm going to continue to add to that and give them another deep threat here in Chris Olave from Ohio State. Tate compared him to Terry McLaurin last year. I think it's a good comparison. I think he has the ability to get open downfield, the technical route running ability, the top of routes when he's trying to fool defenders into, if he's going deep or if he's coming back for a comeback route. He does a very good job of using head fakes and his hips to show either. He needs to work on his yak ability. He needs to add to his frame a little bit. He's a little small, but I think at the moment he is wide receiver 2 for me behind Wilson, and the Eagles need more help there.
Chris Olave was a first-round wide receiver in 2020. or 2021, and here we are talking about 2022. Anyways, thank you both of you for taking the two people that I wanted to take now at 19 for the Patriots. It was either Gardner or Olave, and I was like, "There's no way you guys are going to take both of them in the span of these two picks." Well, it happened. Okay. So I'm going George Pickens. Tore his ACL in March, so it's remained to be seen how healthy he is this season and how his draft stock is affected accordingly. We are hoping for a best case scenario where he is, healthy, plays a good amount, shows the knee is good, and he plays well. And yeah, he's going to go at 19, help out Mac Jones. That wide receiver core is pretty dire. So yeah, he is awesome. Big George Pickens guy, but yeah, not as big as Chris Olave guy, but yeah, George Pickens.
Yeah, I mean, if George Pickens comes back, man, he could be really good and should be a first-round pick, honestly. Chargers at 20. Chargers are interesting because now they're kind of a defensive-minded team under Brandon Staley. And you look at that team and you say, okay, you got two superstars in Joey Bosa and Derwin James. But other than that, man, there's a lot of unproven guys on that defense. I like what they got in Asante Samuel Jr. in the second round. I think he'll be a good player for them. I still think they could use some help at corner because you got Michael Davis and Chris Harris Jr. is really getting up there in age. So I'm going to go with another corner who's, I think, a good value here at 20, and that's Trent McDuffie, the corner from Washington. Very physical corner, probably the best run defending and tackling corner in this class. Really, really good in zone coverage. Not as good in man coverage, but he's capable of man coverage. But I like Trent McDuffie a lot, man. He's a fun player to watch on tape. So I think he'd fit in that LA defense pretty well next to Asante Samuel Jr. and Derwin James in the back end.
21, Dallas. I know they just added a bunch of safeties, but I don't know if the Dan Quinn thing's gonna last. The cover 3 is just a weird thing in the NFL where you're adding an extra defender in the box to defend the run in a league that is moving more and more away from the run. So, I'm going to continue to mock this team as if I were running them, I want to defend against the pass more. So we're going to give him a safety here, Jordan Battle from Alabama, who I think, although he didn't get targeted a lot last year, I think a lot of that is because he's a really smart player. He plays every level of the defense. He can play box, slot, in free safety. He's played about split snaps for all. His route recognition, his intelligence in terms of, here's a guy running a crossing route. There's another cross coming. There's a mesh route, so I need to jump the other one to make sure that he's not open. Is about as good as I've seen from a safety prospect. I think he needs to get a little bit better in terms of tackling and a couple other things, but in terms of the route recognition ability and coverage ability there, he is up there. And for me, if he makes a few more plays on the ball this year, he can move up the board. But I think he's safety 2 for me and would be a valuable pick for Dallas as a guy who can do a little bit of everything in that defense.
All right, we got 22. We got the New Orleans Saints now, who every single one of their wide receivers, except for Michael Thomas and Kawan Baker, are free agents after this coming year. So they have some work to do on that end, and I'll help them out by adding Treylon Burks from Arkansas, 6'3", big boy. Physical, he's got pretty good speed, for his size, the qualifier there, not, Henry Ruggs. But yeah, good at the catch point. Physical guy, will help out that team, and who remain to be seen who they re-signed. But yeah, Treylon Burks, 22 to the Saints.
Dude, he's huge too. He's like 230, right? He's like a tight end size, and he's still like really athletic.
He looks like a running back playing receiver.
Yeah, when I was watching his tape, I was like, "Oh, is he a tight end? Are we sure about this?" But yeah, hey,
he can run, man. No, he should run like low 4.4s, which is like freaky for that size. So I like Treylon Burks a lot.
Yeah, he's fun. Titans, Harold Landry's contract's running out. They need help. I don't think Bud Dupree and Danico Autry really fix their pass rush. So, and they need that speed rusher to place Harold Landry, and I think Brenton Cox Jr. is just a better, smarter football IQ version of Harold Landry. So I think adding him there on the other side of Bud Dupree could actually be a very good edge rushing duo, and I think he fits well into that 340 defense, and he'll be a boost for them in terms of pass rush.
All right, so 24, the Jets with their second pick from Seattle from that Jamal Adams trade. This is tough because I took Kyle Hamilton already. I really want to get a corner for them. I might have screwed myself by taking Trent McDuffie to the Chargers. So I'm going to go with an edge for the Jets, who I know they got Carl Lawson in there and John Franklin Myers, who isn't great. So I'm going to give him Kingsley Enagbare, the edge from South Carolina, who is really freaky. He's a freak athlete. He goes 100% every single play. He's just got to kind of play under control more. I know Mike Renner from PFF loves him. I think he's got him as a top 10 player on his board right now, or very close to it. I don't think he's nearly that high for me, but I think at 24 here, if you're taking a chance on a guy, I like Kingsley Enagbare. He's got to play more under control, like I said, but man, his tools are special at the edge position.
Yeah, he has a nickname JJ. Don't know where it's from. Still need to do some research on that, but hey, just a fun thing to add in.
JJ.
We got the Browns now, 25. My team. And again, like we talked about with the George Pickens pick, we're in kind of an ideal world where like things, work out. And I'm hoping the Jadeveon Clowney thing like works out. I don't know if we re-sign him then. I think it's only a 1-year deal, and if he plays well across from Myles Garrett, which I think could very reasonably happen, he would go off and sign with some other team, and then we maybe would have a hole at edge, depending on how Curtis Weaver and Jordan Elliott kind of, work out, two of our guys from 2020, the 2020 class. So anyways, I'm going Zach Harrison from the Ohio State Cleveland Browns, picking the Ohio State guy. But what happened?
That's the most Tate Sigworth pick of all time.
This is probably, if you want to call me a homer, this is the time to do it, folks. Zach Harrison's a pretty explosive, speedy guy. Off the edge, you got to love it. 5-star pedigree, former pedigree. I mean, it's just the perfect combination of stuff for me in this August mock. You got the Browns, you got Ohio State, you got pedigree. What would better fit?
I like Zach Harrison too. I actually think that's a pretty good pick.
Oh, well, thank you, Max. See, I'm not a total homer.
I'm not going to comment because I might have taken the Michigan guy first, but
yeah, shut your mouth.
That's a sore subject. The Lions, basically everything is needed. We gave him a quarterback. The sad thing is the highest player on my board at this point is a tight end, and they really it's like the one thing they don't need. So we're gonna give him Jaquan Brisker, continue the safety thing. Penn State, guy who I think in terms of a box safety is excellent. I think he could have a Jamal Adams type impact in terms of pass rush and playing in the box. And then I think he in coverage shows the ability to make those plays that really make a difference in terms of interceptions, tip passes, kind of being physical with tight ends. The issue I have with him is they play him at free safety a lot at Penn State, which is good. I think you want to be playing there because that's, a valuable spot in the defense. You want to be able to move around your safeties. But he has trouble recognizing when the ball is being thrown. I think I don't know if he watches the quarterback's eyes that well, because you see balls get thrown to the corner route, to the flag, and he's just so late getting over at times. That's my one issue with him. But if he can speed up that play recognition, he could be a good coverage player as well. Not that he's bad at coverage, it's just there's a couple things there he needs to work on, and could be a starting point for a Lions defense that needs quite a bit.
Yeah, I like Jaquan Brisker a lot. He might be the best box safety in this draft. And
Max?
He's good. Yeah, he's the only maybe good player in Penn State right now, which is tough. So yeah, I like Jaquan Brisker a lot. Miami here at 27. This is for Martina Davies, who has been commenting in a lot of our videos, who constantly is like, why are you guys hating on Tua so much? Well, I thought about you, Martina, because I really, really was so close to taking Grayson McCall here at 27. And I thought about it, and I was like, do I do it? Do I not do it? I didn't do it. This is from the 49ers pick, by the way. This is not saying Miami's going to be that good with the 27th overall pick. So I'm taking – they need offensive line really badly. I don't like Austin Jackson at all. I know they took Liam Eichenberg, but I don't know if he'll give you the long-term guy. Left tackle, maybe an inside player. Don't know if this guy will be a long-term play either, but Abraham Lucas I like a lot, the tackle from Washington State. He's a really good pass protector. They play in a very pro-style offense at Washington State now, where you get a lot of true pass sets out of him. And I like Abraham Lucas a lot. He's not a great run blocker. He is huge, though. He's 328 pounds. I just think that, Miami really needs help in the O-line, and I'm not giving up on Tua yet. I was close to taking Grayson McCall because I love him. I'm not doing it yet. I'm taking Abraham Lucas to further help Tua develop. And then year three is do or die for Tua, depending on how this year goes, obviously.
The reason we dog on Tua is because he throws with the wrong hand. We've been over this. It's the devil's hand. Left hand just don't work in the NFL. Anyways, Abraham Lucas, 6'7", 330 pounds, just Mekhi Becton 2.0. Moving on to the Ravens at 28. If you thought I had drafted enough interior offensive linemen at this point in the draft, you are sorely mistaken, because I'm going Kenyon Green, who is moving to tackle this year, but has, I believe, played 2 years of guard at Texas A&M. A little undersized at 6'4", but 330 pounds. He's kind of thick, so he's got an interesting frame. He could move inside, he could play outside, depending on how the Ravens want to use him. Yeah, and just another one of these guys that could go way up or he could go down. He's just kind of poised in this late round area of the first round. Remain to be seen how he plays this fall.
Packers are next. It's completely unrealistic, but I couldn't say that a quarterback didn't cross my mind at this pick.
Grits in the call, baby.
Just because I don't know that. I mean, I think we're probably a little low on Jordan Love. Everyone is, but we'll see. So I'm going to pick a guy that I like in this draft. DeMarvion Overshown is a linebacker at Texas who just does a little bit of everything. He's just a freak. He's 6'4", 215, I think, something like that. Just big, 217. And he can do a little bit of everything. He's got speed. He's got power. He's just this guy who's just all over the field at all times, kind of plays like a box safety, even though he is like a middle linebacker. He'll cover for you, against tight ends. And he has like a bad tackling. I think he has a lot of missed tackles, but it's because he gets himself in position all the time where he's like making these diving, late effort, like sliding, shoestring tackle attempts, and doesn't always make all of them, but some of them he makes, and it's like there's no other player on the field who can make that play. So he is just a physical nightmare for some defenses. If you get the right coaching staff around him and really build him up as a player, he could be a frightening player at the next level.
All right, so I've got the Bills here at 30, and Buffalo was tough, man. Obviously, any team down here is tough because they're obviously really good teams. Buffalo didn't really run the ball or defend the run really well, so I was looking at interior offensive line. There wasn't anyone besides Linderbaum I think is worth taking first round.
You're welcome for that, Max.
Yeah, I was hoping Linderbaum would fall to 30 here for Buffalo. But you look at the D tackle class after DeMarvin Leal, unfortunately, he was taken before pick 30, way before pick 30. So I kind of was looking elsewhere. I didn't want to take a running back, even though I like Breece Hall a lot. So I'm going to go with Tyke Smith, the corner/safety who's now playing at Georgia from West Virginia. He is awesome, man. And I think Buffalo needs some help in that secondary. I like Tre'Davious White a ton. But you got Teron Johnson in the slot, who I don't think is very good at all. You put him there with Tre'Davious White, Levi Wallace, who I think is decent. I really like that secondary for Buffalo. You still have Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, who is one of the best safety duos in the NFL. So you could play Tyke Smith in the slot, play him at safety. Either way, man, he's a really, really good player. So I like Tyke Smith in Buffalo a lot.
All right, and Nick, you mentioned that Michigan guy when the Browns pick was up at 25. We got the Bucs now at 31. I'm going Aiden Hutchinson. I'm trying to cancel out all of my homer picks. I think like the 3 Ohio State guys I drafted in the first round in this mock. Hurt his foot, broke his ankle. I don't actually remember the exact injury, but he missed the end of 2020 and then did not come out for the 2021 draft. So he's back. He probably would have been an early second-round pick in this past draft class if he had stayed. And the Bucs, William Golston's going to be a free agent. GPP is going to be a free agent. And Ndamukong Suh is going to be a free agent. So they need some kind of edge D-end threat. And Aiden Hutchinson's sitting here at 31. Again, best case scenario with Pickens and with what was the other guy I was talking about injuries with? Zach Harrison? I don't know. I can't remember. I have the memory of a goldfish. But yeah, hoping Aiden Hutchinson's healthy, everything's healed, nothing, no re-injuries, yada yada. And he goes here at 31 for the Bucs.
Do you like Joe Tryon a lot?
Him and Joe Tryon, him and Joe Tryon lining up next to each other could be very dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not certain either of them really fit into like that outside linebacker or 3-4 down rule either. So it's like that'd be funny. I don't know what you do there. I'll do. I like it though.
Move them around, see what happens. I don't
know. Chiefs at 32. I already kind of foreshadowed this. I had a tight end number one on my board for a little bit here. Jalen Weidermeyer, I think, shows flashes at that next level. I think he's a fine pass blocker, has the speed and athleticism to really separate himself as a tight end in the NFL. I don't think he's a Kyle Pitts type talent, but could he be like a Noah Fant? Yes. And I think when you look at Andy Reid's pass, he does like using two tight end sets in his offenses. They've tried to get more power in this past year. They ran the ball a lot more with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And I think adding a second good tight end to that offense, you'd still use Travis Kelce as your number one, obviously. And then you put in Jalen Weidermeyer, and you get yourself a really nice two options there on the outside. I think they need help at pass catcher as is. I don't really trust Mecole Hardman as a number 2 receiver at the moment. Corn Powell might be getting some snaps, for example. And Weidermeyer is the guy who could step in and really elevate this passing game if you get him in at 32 here.
All right, so that's what we got for the first Boomer Bust 2022 mock draft. Please let us know who was left out. Like, was King Slovis wasn't picked in this mock draft. There are a few others. Adam Anderson, I know people love the Georgia edge, wasn't picked in this mock draft either. So please let us know who was left out. Do you like your team's pick? Who went too high? Who went too low? Please let us know below. Please check out the merch store. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at Boom or Bust Draft. And of course, please go to manscaped.com and use the promo code BoomerBust, all caps, no spaces, for 20% off and free shipping. So for Tate Sigworth and Nick Merriam, I'm Max Chadwick. Have a great night.